I think at some point in our lives, we've all kind of had maybe a physical issue or something that's bothered us, and where we've actually kind of strained ourselves, or maybe put a muscle out or a bone out, or whatever we've done. We've had some kind of physical injury, and it's really bothered us. And I think the tendency is to focus on that issue, to focus on that problem, obviously because it hurts, and you want it to stop. But in a sense, how are you focusing on that particular thing? Are you focusing with regard to trying to make it better, or are you focusing on regard of actually making it worse without knowing it? So with regard to physical ailments, I've had my fair few over the past 8 years. I've been obviously quite ill with my depression, like I've said in past videos. I've also had many physical ailments with regard to that, and quite a bit of illness over the years. And so today I had an experience, and I was doing something out in the warehouse at work. I've been asked to go out and find something to put some of the stock on, and couldn't find anything. So I went out the back into our outside area where we store some of the stuff, and actually found what we needed. But it was buried in amongst a load of other stuff, and I didn't really. I needed to move some stuff, but I couldn't quite get it out. So I was kind of like literally just wrenching it, trying to force it out. And I managed to get the thing out eventually, and it was okay. I didn't really notice anything in particular about my physical state. I was pretty fine. And then all of a sudden, I was trying to get this thing into the back door, and I twisted my knee in a funny way, and it really kind of hurt. And it's in the end, I decided not to take this thing in because one of the wheels was kind of a bit dicky and it didn't work very well. So I thought it's probably not really a lot of good. So I kind of left it outside, but it left me limping. And so I was kind of limping, obviously, to try and avoid the pain of what I've just done. And I kind of thought about it, and I thought, yeah, I've got this kind of problem here, and my knee's kind of hurting. And I was starting to complain about it a little bit. I could sort of, but I was conscious of what I was doing. I was thinking, I can either complain about this and focus on it more and make it worse, or I can defocus myself and put a coping mechanism in place just for the moment until the pain has kind of lessened and resolved. I can start to think differently about this whilst I'm using my coping mechanism. So in a sense, I more or less in a way ignored it and just carried on with what I was doing. And I had this kind of temptation to complain to one of my co-workers about the fact that I've done this to my knee. And I thought, well, actually, hang on a minute. If I do that, that means I'm emphasizing the problem. And then it's going to bring him in on the problem as well, which is going to make it even worse, because then you've got somebody else focusing on the problem that you've just kind of created, or the physical issue that you've just kind of caused yourself. So I thought that's not a good idea. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to think differently about this. And I started thinking differently about it, started ignoring it, and started going, right, well, I'm sure it'll get better. And I'm pretty sure that I haven't done too much damage. And although it hurts at the moment, I can deal with this. And I'm not really that bothered about it. I was just talking to myself about it all the time and really kind of soothing myself about it. And eventually I just kind of forgot about it. I just kind of forgot about it. It's still there in the background. And, literally a couple of hours later, I really wasn't thinking about it at all. And it kind of made me think, because in my life, I've always been the type of person that if I had an ailment or I had an illness, I would overemphasize that, would make it worse. I would actually go out and try and find sympathy about this kind of ailment. And, I would kind of, in a sense, the main point is for me here is that I would actually think about it more, and the fact that it was there. I'd actually think about it, and it would actually make it worse. And then it would last for like a couple of days or maybe even a couple of weeks. And I get frustrated, and because it would get worse, and then I'd strain it more. And because I think we're all familiar with this, you think about this thing, right? And then the moment you think about the ailment, and you become afraid that you're going to do more damage to it, what happens? You end up doing more damage to it because you end up straining it. It's like the cut that you have in your hand that you always seem to hit on everything, and it kind of hurts, and then it makes it worse. And I think most of us have kind of experienced this. And so when you focus on it more, it hurts more, and you're also more liable to hit it. And so that was the type of thing that I always used to do to myself. To me, it's amazing how much my thought processes have changed, and how just defocusing on a particular ailment and actually making it in your mind not that bad can be so powerful. Because now I'm sat here, I don't have any problem with my knee. I've got no issue with it at all. And it was hurting so bad earlier that I was limping. So, I mean, that just goes to show the power that you have over what you do in your life, and the way you can change your thoughts to actually help an ailment rather than hinder its healing, in a sense. So, so that's rather interesting. And I don't know if... I'd be interested, actually, in the same way as I've said over the past couple of days. It would be interesting to hear your views on it. Interesting to hear what you guys think, and how, if you've yourself have overcome any ailments as a result of the way you fought, or maybe you've had an experience, not necessarily the way you fought. Maybe you've had an experience where you have had a particular ailment or had a particular pain, and then something's distracted you, and you suddenly notice maybe a couple of hours or even a couple of days later that it's not there anymore. Be quite interesting to hear that. So that's today's video, guys. I hope that it's been useful to you, and that you've gained some value from it. And as always, I will see you probably tomorrow's video.